quickly begin with our session today. So today we are here to quickly understand, what capabilities LLMs have, what can LLMs do, getting a good understanding around that, leveraging it for coding, for prompt engineering itself. Then we have a really amazing agenda today. So we'll be sort of, going through a quick live demo on Google Firebase Studio, and after that, towards the very end, we're gonna go through how we at IK can quickly help you to sort of, up level your career and take it to the next level with Agentic AI. And as planned, definitely we are gonna take the Q&As towards the end. So as I mentioned earlier, feel free to add your questions in the Q&A chat. So we will definitely take them towards the end. So really looking forward to have an amazing session today. And yes, feel free to keep engaging to the chat. Awesome. We can go to the next slide. Yeah. So for those who are new here today, like who are joining us for the very first time here at one of our master classes, so a very brief about what IK does. So we have been into helping folks sort of driving their career and upskilling themselves for the last 10 years. We have been helping engineers sort of get into FANG Plus companies and take their next leap towards like a tactful growth in their careers. We have had more than 21,000 alumni, and our program sort of catered across 18 plus disciplines. So we have in software engineering, product management, we have our AI/ML courses, and then today towards the very end we are going to discuss our agentic AI offerings, which we have, like helping you sort of up level in the agentic AI and Gen AI domain. And yeah, we are recognized with GSP 150 as one of the transformational companies around education. So yeah, like for those who are new here, like we are happy to help you in whatever next leap you are looking to take in your career. So really excited to have everyone here. Awesome. Cool. So now with this, I'll quickly hand over the stage to Ahmed. So Ahmed is one of our senior instructors here at IK. He has been teaching with us. He has been with us for some time now, and he primarily takes the Gen AI courses here at IK and some of the ML courses. So really glad to have you here, Ahmed. Looking forward to an amazing session today. Over to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Utkarsh, and thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for joining. Very excited to be here with you, talking about agents, AI, LLM, coding, all of these interesting topics. I will give you like a quick intro about myself. This is Ahmed. Currently, I work as an ML engineer at Google. Mostly, I focus on applied ML, which means taking whatever ML solutions that are out there and using them to solve actual problems. Whether these are building virtual agents that assist enterprises or virtual agents that assist Gmail and Docs users, or looking at the safety and security concerns that using GenAI may impose on our users. Before that, I spent some time in academia doing ML research and teaching, where I did really enjoy the teaching part. That's why I joined IK, because I find like teaching to be fun. So that's about myself. I wanted to talk to you today about how like these coding agents are impacting the whole market and how they are impacting the way we should think about up leveling our skills. But before that, I think it's a good idea to spend like maybe a minute or so talking about what are actually LMs capable of doing and why are they so powerful to that point. So you can actually LLMs started like a while ago, even before they were that popular. So even before the Chat GPT hype, LLMs were there. People knew that they exist. People knew that they have some capabilities. But before 2023 and before ChatGPT, it was not that obvious for people. How can you use LLMs to impact end user applications? It was mostly research projects showing cool demos, and it was never like taking them seriously to deploy them for applications. And at that point, people understood that LLMs are really good at understanding natural language. So they understand free text. You don't need to structure the input in a specific way. People started playing with them in to basically do question answering. You have like what people call open book question answering, where you have the answer existing in some input document, and you try to get the LLM to extract this answer. People try to use that for more straightforward tasks like summarization. Given an input text, how to shorten it, uh, changing the tone of the text, and all of that, all of these simple applications. It was only during 2023 where like these models were taken seriously and well trained and productionized, where people actually started saying like, actually, we can use this for even more complicated tasks. We can generate content with useful meaning that we can rely. Or we can even use these models to make decisions on our behalf, or use these models to do tool usage, which is basically calling APIs. So it was very obvious for people that LLMs are being taken seriously, especially the product teams, and they need to catch up to speed with the research that has been going on for years to figure out ways to use these LLMs. And one of the obvious use cases for LLMs, since they do understand natural language inputs and they can produce meaningful outputs, is using these for producing code, right? Code is actually much easier to generate compared to natural language because think about it, the rules of the code are more strict than English rules. You can know for sure once you have a piece of code whether it compiles or not, whether it runs or not. So LMs actually work better on producing code than they are at producing natural language. And this is where many companies like Cursor and many other companies try to find, like, say, let's build agents that do code. And Google Firebase Studio is one of them. But basically, you can think of like the way that you can have virtual AI assistants in your workflow as a software engineer. It varies actually based on the complexity. So you can have simple use cases like code completion, right? Autocomplete for text and for code has been there for a while. Like you type for int I equals 0, and then it knows that you're just about writing a for loop, so it continues that line for you. This is a little bit simple use case. You can complicate things a little bit and say, like, let's generate a boilerplate code. Like if you have a Java class and you have like constructors, getters, and setters, these have been there for a while actually. They can just generate these very repetitive code for you without much intelligence. And then people said, like, let's make things a little bit more complicated and do code translation. I don't know, like this V0 that I want to port it to V1, and there's like these translation rules are very obvious. Let's do that. Again, this is not like very impressive. It doesn't require lots of intelligence or models that are very capable of doing things. Where LLMs comes actually into the picture, and it's really useful, is bug detection and fixes. You have some implementation. You run the LLM as a code reviewer for yourself rather than before actually sending this to your colleague, and it scans your code and saying, like, probably you have a bug here. You have a division by 0 here. You have an off by 1 error here. You have memory leakage here, something like that. And it even suggests some fixes for you. So this is like basically taking this one step further. Or writing tests and documentation for you, like based on the flow of the implementation. It understands that these are the paths that should be covered, and here are like the four or five test cases that will cover your code. Or I can generate G3 some documentation, Java docs for you, or something like that. Or you can take it like for like even steps forward and say, like, let's do natural language to code generation. I will describe my my problem statement. in plain English or other languages if I18N works well. And then I will rely on the LLMs or agents, to be more specific, to generate the code end to end to myself. And this is what people are referring to as vibe coding. Actually, it's funny because the whole term was coined by Andrea Karpathy, who is like a very well-known ML researcher, who was like I think he was one of the founders for OpenAI, and he led the research team at Tesla. And he was actually coined the term in a Twitter on a tweet, saying like people started doing vibe coding where they just speak their mind in English, and agents do convert that code to reasonable quality code. We'll see actually where does this fit and how it is likely to impact our careers. But this is basically the historical context around where the term vibe coding came from and how people have been using uh, LLMs and agents for code assistant and generation for a while. So it sounds like simple thing, right? We do write plain English. It converts that to code, and everyone is happy or sad depending on whether they're working as software engineers or not. But it's not actually that simple. You need to basically iteratively improve your prompt, and there are some guidelines for writing prompts or prompt engineering, as people like to call it. Again, these are some kind of guidelines. These are not like rules that are set in stone, but basically you need to have your task as crystal clear to the LLM so that it understands what are the tasks that you want to achieve. You need to provide any contextual information the LLM or the agent need to achieve that task. So for instance, if you have other files that contain the definition of the APIs that you want to integrate with, it's better to provide this as an input to the agent so that it knows the necessary context, and instead of hallucinating and coming up with arbitrary answers. Sometimes you have to intervene and provide step-by-step guidance or helping the agent in breaking down the task into smaller subtasks so that it can actually perform the end goal correctly. You need sometimes to specify how the output would look like, the structure of the output, the constraints on the output. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you need to decompose the problem into smaller sub-problems. You need to actively stay in the driver's seat and provide feedback and refinement based on how the model is responding to your input. I'm saying all of this because, yes, vibe coding works, I don't know, like maybe 70, 80% of the cases, but I have to be there. Like, I don't think we are at a point where we just let the LLM generate the code for us. We push it to production. Everyone is go home and like we are done. It actually it's necessary at this point that you stay at the driver's seat and you provide guidance to the LLM. You continuously monitor the output, and then from there your productivity will increase. It's not that you just write, like we fire all the engineers and then we have like a single LLM that we write the prompt to it and then it deploys the code to production. It's not that. It's not the case. And I'm going to talk about that later after the demo. But I just wanted to highlight this issue to be like fair in the assessment of the technology that we have, the young technology that we have at the moment. And as I already mentioned previously, vibe coding doesn't work 100%. LLMs do not work 100%. They do rely on your feedback. Even for ChatGPT, think about your usage for ChatGPT. Sometimes you provide it a question, sometimes it goes into different directions and you need to course correct it and say like, no, I didn't mean this, I meant something else. Or I wanted different output than the one that you provided. And then a few iterations, and most of the time they work very well. So you need to continuously provide the guidance and providing feedback to the LLM so that you can get the most out of it. And then also like the LLMs work, oftentimes they work very well because together, like they have been pre-trained on tons of use cases, whether these are multimodal images or text or single modality, which is like text. And it's your job to extract all that knowledge or distill that knowledge into the final output that you want your model to have. And you mostly do this through iteratively refining your prompt. So that's for like the way I think about it as a introduction to LLMs and their evolution or their progress. A short, like maybe 5-minute version of like intro to that, LLMs and prompting. Now it's time to show you actually. Let's try vibe coding together with Google Firebase Studio. Um, a bit of disclaimers. The Google Firebase Studio is a relatively new tool. It doesn't consistently provide you the same output. I did try that demo 3 times. It worked in the 3 times, but we all know that live demos do not work when you go live. So if it doesn't work, I will have to switch back to one of the demos that I pre-prepared before the session. And like, there's no such way to set the temperature to 0, something like that. So I noticed slight variations in when I tried the same demo a few times, but it will be trying vibe coding together. It doesn't have to be necessarily 100% accurate. It's just walking you with me through that journey. So what is Google Firebase Studio anyways? It's a new tool that Google released. It's a low code app development, which means it's tailored for people who want to quickly come up with some applications without writing code. It gives you access to the code. You can see the code, you can change the code, but you are not necessarily required to do the coding yourself. You describe your problem statement, as we will see. It comes up with proposal for the problem. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then if you like it, you approve it, and then it starts generating the code for you. It has, as I mentioned, it generates the code and the UI. I tried to get it to work with different languages, but it consistently provide TypeScript as the output, which I see as a limitation. The nice thing about it, it has built-in integration with Firebase services, which simplifies the backend setup processes. And probably they are targeting front-end use cases using or targeting front-end use cases for the studio. So with that, let's see if people, because some people are complaining about some. Can people see the window clear?
Uh,
Me, is my screen visible?
the slide is visible, Ahmed, if you're sharing that.
Yeah, the slides mostly. I'm sure asking. Okay, good. So I just wanted to make sure that, because I saw some people asking if this is going to be fixed. So I just wanted to make sure that people are seeing what I think they're seeing. Okay, awesome. So let's take a simple problem, really simple application, and try to see how far we can go with vibe coding in building that application. I intentionally kept the problem simple, so that we just can show you the journey end to end during the demo. We will not worry about things like building persistent storage. We're not going to worry about authentication, rate limit, or anything like that. It's just like proof of concept application. And it's the standard CS example application that people start learning with, which is a to-do app. I want an application that I can interact with it and say, like, here's my task for tomorrow. Help me, like, I have to finish the LLM project next week, or I have to finish like groceries this weekend, or something like that. And then I will ask Google Firebase Studio to create that for me. Since we are talking about GenAI, we'll add a little bit of like natural language understanding requirements to the problem. We will see later how these will look like. And I will rely on Google Firebase Studio to create prompts for me that will connect with an LLM to load these, to parse these natural language for me. So let's stop talking about code and let's start showing code. So I'm going to switch tabs now to my Google Firebase Studio. It's worth mentioning that this is a GCP product, or Google Cloud product, which requires having a Google Cloud account. So you actually need to have a Google Cloud account so that you can use the service. It's easy to create, like you can easily follow any of the demos or tutorials on how to create a Google Cloud account and how to get, you need an API key. It's for free. So you just need to follow the steps to get the API key. And then from there, you can use Google Firebase Studio with no problems. So I pre-prepared the prompt before the session. So let me copy paste that prompt here, and then we'll walk you through it. So this is the prompt this is actually how you can start prototyping with AI. And you can see here that my prompt is just describing what I want to have. Just saying, I want to build a smart to-do list with natural language input. I need to support the following features, and then I list my features. Users can enter tasks using natural language, things like buy groceries tomorrow at 5 p.m. Tasks are parsed and stored with title, due date, and optional time view, and mark completed and delete tasks. So basic, simple features, adding, editing, completing tasks with due date. Let's click prototype with AI and see how it goes. It will take like a minute or so. Yeah, let me paste the prompt here on the chat so that people can try it as well. So this is the prompt that I used. You can see here that it's first, it came up with funny name for the task or for the application, and then it listed the features that it's going to support. You can see that it has like task list display, task completion, task deletion. Yeah, it's going to be web-based app. Yeah, there's a question. It's mostly web-based app. On the front end is going to be TypeScript. It's not a mobile app, just web-based through the browser. Did I paste the prompt? Oh, sorry, I didn't paste it for everyone. Let me re-paste it again for everyone. Here you go. You should be able to see the prompt now. You have some options to edit the styles, and then you can basically change the stack to use different languages and whatnot. So if I like this, I will say like, let's prototype this app. You can actually change also the LLMs that you're going to use, and then we will wait for maybe a minute or so. Rather than waiting and wasting everyone time waiting, I actually did run the same exact steps before the session, and it gave me this view. So rather than just waiting for a couple of minutes, I already ran these steps before the session, and this is the output that you will have. So let's give it a try and pass some tasks, add some tasks to the input. So let's get the first task and say I want to buy groceries by tomorrow, and see what will the output, how the output would look like. Now it's the moment of truth. It has some errors. It has one issues, and the nice thing is that you can actually click on this, and it says, I have detected some errors. Want me to help fix? And you can click yes, fix the errors, and see how it goes. So it's trying to identify the error and linking this with the code, trying to reanalyze its code, and we are waiting basically for it to finish the pre-processing. Let's see if it's going to be fixed or not. It's taking a bit of time. Hopefully it will go through. Let's see. Okay, so it did update the parse task from natural language to TypeScript. We will wait for it to finish it, but it's basically providing you providing the current date to the input prompt, and let's see if this will help fixing the issue or not. Once we do this, okay, so apparently it did not properly adjust this. It says like it thinks that today is May 19th, but this could be because of different time zones. So let's actually look at the prompt that they are using here, and let's see, natural language input. I don't see any current date. No, it does have the current date here. So it did add the current date to the prompt, which was what was the error was all about. It thought that it at that point it did not have the current date. So I was saying like finish groceries by tomorrow. It didn't know today's date, and then it did add the current date. So probably the case here that it's in my time zone, it's 9:30 p.m. and probably it's pulling the date from a different time zone. That's why it thinks that tomorrow is 20th of May. Maybe we can edit it and say like use EST time zone for current date, and then we see if it fixes the issue or not, so that it gets the right date instead of May 19th. Hopefully it will get May 18th. Let's see if this is going to help the issue, and then we can retry the same input again. You can see that it's taking a bit of time. It's slow. But if you are actually using probably a paid tier or something like that, hopefully it will not have that issue. So it's trying to update the prompt, and you can see here from the code snippets actually that it's using the EST. So if we actually open that file once it finishes, if we use EST here, you'll find that the time in EST. So it basically did process and understand the input, and let's see if this will fix the issue. Here we go. So the date now is properly tomorrow. It understands that tomorrow is the 19th because today in EST time zone is the 18th. So let's add more tasks to the LLM here, sorry, to our application. I will specify here that I want to finish some project before the May 15th, which is in the past. Let's add two more tasks. One that should be finished by the end of the next week, which did understand that this is hopefully get this correctly, which is the 23rd, before the end of the week. And let's get one more task that says pay utilities today. So some tasks with different dates, with different due dates, and I'm adding these intentionally because I don't like that I can't sort these applications, right? So, sorry, I can't sort these tasks. So what I'm gonna do is asking the agent to add a sorting option for me. I will basically I will have to write up a prompt that says like I need this to sort the tasks different using different fields alphabetically or using the due date. So let's copy the prompt that I have here and paste it there. Let's see. Add a sorting option. Yep, let's do this here. So I'm going to add this prompt that says add a sorting option. It should support alphabetically and date ascending and descending. So let's wait for it. Hopefully it will get the right date. Hopefully it will get the right feature, sorry. Unfortunately, it's a little bit slow, which is adding a little bit of like awkward silence moments, but we'll see. Actually, in the meanwhile, we can explore the prompt a little bit together. You can see here that the prompt is mostly adding description to parse the task itself that we are adding to the list, and instructing it to correctly extract the date and use EST time zone. And you can see that there are some few short examples. It's saying like current date in EST. If the current date is this, and I say tomorrow, then it should be the 27th, and so on. And now mostly this task that I have here is not going to change the prompt. Instead, it's going to add a bunch of TypeScript code that will basically add these features for us. Let's see if this is going to finish. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So we do have a sorting option using the title. If we change this, it does ascendingly sort them using the title. If we choose from the other way around, descending, it's going to flip the order. We can sort them using due date, which shows the 15th first, 18th, 19th, and 23rd. That's why I use different dates. Or you can sort them from the in a descending order using the due date as well. So this looks good, and we can start actually completing some tasks, right? I can basically say like I finished that task, and it starts showing them in the completed tasks. But let's say that I want to add a feature to say like, actually, I want to control when I did finish this task. Maybe I finished the task yesterday and it did not like, I forgot to add it. So it means that I want to add a completion date field, which again is a prompt which say like, I want to add an additional field for completion date, and that will be set once I finish the task. It's gonna take a bit of time. So in the meanwhile, rather than waiting awkwardly, I will take a look at some of the Q&A and try to see if there are any relevant questions. I will only answer questions related to this demo, and I will leave questions related to the courses to Utkarsh to handle them. What is vibe coding? What are the use cases of the vibe coding? New projects or existing projects? Project for MLOps. So vibe coding is mostly what we are doing now. It's basically typing prompts and hoping that the LLM can answer them for us, or some prompts and hoping that the LLM will come up with implementation for us. What they can be used for, they actually can be used for all of the above, but the quality is questionable. It's mostly goes all the way to 70 or 80%, but you still need to verify the output similar to what we have been doing. Okay, so this is done. It says like now the types here. It did add a completion date here, which is a string. We can see that it did add the different option to show the select date. So let's try this and see if this would work or not. So if I say like let's finish the, we have this that should have been finished on the 15th. So let's say if we can do change the date here. It doesn't allow us to do that. So let's see what is the problem. Let's change this. Okay, so it doesn't allow us, it doesn't give us the option to change the date. So let's rewrite the prompt again and say like, let's give the user the option to change the completion, complete date. Again, I will take some questions till it finishes the code because otherwise we are going to waste some time. Let's see. Few issues I have was Replit, or let's say there is a session, okay, related to a bug in one page. When I ask it to fix it, it takes 10 attempts to fix the bug sometimes, and when it fixes it, it introduces new bug in another page. This is a very valid concern. That's why I keep saying like, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, the best usage of these tools is speeding up repeated tasks that are simple to be done, and you review the solution before taking it. Of course, the quality will vary. The more holistic view, the more the problem needs a holistic view, that is the quality of the solution. If the problem is well scoped, most of the time the LLM would work just fine. But if there are like many moving parts, LLMs are still figuring out a way to collect that view. Let's hopefully it finished this time. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, here we go. So we can change the due date. Maybe I finished it yesterday, but I forgot to do it. So we do have an option to now to set the due date, which is a progress. Let's now require one more feature. And then basically I want to show whether a task has been finished on time or not. Because like basically if I finished this task today, it just says it's completed. But let's say that I want some analysis on what are the tasks that I finished late and what are the tasks that I haven't finished late. Then basically, again, you get the drill. By this point, I write a prompt, say like for each completed task, I want to show whether it was finished on time or before time or late. We'll wait for it. We'll take more questions till it finishes. I expected the code to GitHub and they imported in Firebase Studio. I think there is an option to import it from GitHub, but in this demo, I wanted to show every like starting from scratch. Another question: I was not able to run the code after so many attempts. Probably you are missing the API key. Probably it is waiting and showing a little box saying "Give me the API key." Actually, you have something like this. You need to get the API key and paste it there. Another question: what is Firebase Studio good for specifically, and why it should be used instead of Cursor? Is it good for app development UI? It is a new tool. It's hard to judge it and how it compares to Cursor. I think you can change it. You can change the TypeScript. I didn't play with enough options, but probably you can change this um, to use like different languages. Based on my experience, I think Cursor is more like hands-on. It's more for people with dev experience, because it shows you the technical details in the technicalities in more details. Okay, so it finished. Let's hope that it will work this time. So let's say that we want to finish this on the 15th. It does show that it's completed late. So let's try to finish some other tasks on time and some other tasks late and see if it will work or not. So we are supposed to buy groceries on 18th or 19th. So it does show that this is completed early because we finished this today. And let's say that we want to finish, like preparing the slides is due next week. So if we click this, it shows that this is completed early. We're supposed to pay the utilities today, so it just shows this is completed on time. From now on, it's mostly adding new features. You can add, like, let's say that we want to add a sorting based on the completion date. So again, at that point, you update a prompt and say, like, let's support adding a sorting option using the finish date. We'll wait for it to finish, but in the meantime, I will take more questions. For code generation, based on your experience, what structure of prompt or framework works best for coding tasks? Clear, very specific prompt. Try to reduce like the different sources that the LLM or the agent needs to look at. Try basically to contextualize the problem as much as you can, giving the LLM very specific, well-defined tasks. At that point, it works very well. I think most of the challenges come when you say, like, convert this code from V1 from this API to V2. It needs to understand V1, it needs to understand V2, it needs to understand the differences between them and how to navigate that situation, which adds to the complexity. So basically, collecting the context yourself and provide it in the prompt, make the prompt very specific, actionable, divided into subtasks, and this is just more of guidelines. Okay, so let's see if our friend here has finished or not. Completion date. Can you sort by this? It seems that it's not sorting by the completion date. Let's change this. This is not working. So let's tell our LLM that this is actually not finishing. So this is not sorting by complete date properly. And we'll see if it will work or not. Is Firebase only able to use model available on the Google AI stack? Can it run packages like PyTorch? So what I have tried so far is mostly connecting to Google hosted models. Probably it will only connect to models hosted on GCP, but it's worth mentioning that GCP, or more specifically Vertex AI, does host all the models. You can host one of the famous models like Llama or whatever open source model that is available there, or you can host your own model. Let's say that you have your own fine-tuned model that you worked on, then you can actually host it on Vertex AI, and then you can connect to it. Let's see, another question. What kind of agentic layout does Firebase Studio use? Does it use multi-agent approach when different agent role play, like coder, reviewer, supervisor, UI specialist? This setup is much simpler than this. At this point, it has like a single agent that like it produces a single agent for you, but under the hood, it seems that it is using mostly coder agent that takes your prompt and our natural language input here and convert it into language. So it seems that it's doing, as far as I can tell from the surface, it's using a single coder agent that understands languages and produces code for you. I like that we don't have to worry about the syntax boilerplate anymore. What do you see the best important skill in the era of vibe coding? This is an awesome question. I will get into this in detail after I finish the demo, but I like the way you framed it by saying that we don't have to worry about these small tasks that do not really require creativity, and then we can pay more attention to the bigger picture. And this is to answer your question. It just frees up your time, and you are able to step back and look at the bigger picture, do more high level things rather than worrying more about in TypeScript to get the length of a list. Do I do this or that? Or what is the exact signature for that API or for this API? So this is one way to look at it, which I have like, I dedicated some time to discuss this after we finish the demo. Hopefully this will work this time. Let's see. It doesn't allow me to sort. I don't know what is the problem. But, and this is not surprising to me because I know that demos do not work once you go live on stage. That's why I did prepare some of the demos where the task, where the completion date was successfully, you can use the completion date successfully to do sorting. So this is the demo that proved that this feature does work on some of the demos where you can actually sort it by the completion date. You can see that it goes ascending and descending basically. But I'm not sure why the other one is not working. Let me actually, maybe it's working. Let me see. Oh, I think it does work on the completion date. I was looking at something else. Yeah, sorry, it's my bad. So if we actually change this into maybe rather than the 18th, the 15th, it will work. Okay, here we go. So if we actually sort this oldest first, you can see that this jumps all the way to the top, to the May 17th, and everything else on the May 18th. And then if we sorted in the reverse order, it does bring everything on May 18th first. Okay, so it did work. Demos sometimes work. Awesome. Okay, so that's the demo that I had. Of course, it's not meant to be covering every single feature, uh, but just showing you what does it take to do a little bit of vibe coding. I want to go back to follow up on one of the questions, which is like, where do I see vibe coding being useful? Is it actually a threat to people in the tech, like especially software engineers? And I'm gonna be honest with you, at the beginning, I was in some phase of denial. Like, oh no, like LLMs, of course, are not going to produce code as humans do. My code is better than any LLM. But once you move out of this denial stage, you can actually think of LLMs as tools rather than replacements. Uh, as one of you have already nicely put it, you don't need to worry more about repetitive tasks. You don't need to worry about figuring out the right syntax by going through documentations a lot. Don't need to worry about very repetitive errors by going through countless pages through Stack Overflow. You can more focus on designing your system. You can more focus on coming up with the architecture of the system. You can more focus on scaling the system. You can focus on many, many other creative problems that you were so busy to even think about them. If you are an experienced software engineer or someone who is working on tech, but even if you are not actually experienced engineer or data scientist or any person working in tech, you can actually use agents and LLMs and tools to learn even more quickly. There are like many situations where actually learning new libraries or new tools or new frameworks, and I was stuck a little bit. And I ask a chat GPT or I ask a Gemini, what is the difference between this and that? What is the difference between these two pieces of code? Which one is working better in different cases? So you can actually use this in your advantage rather than going into like saying like this is going to take my job. If you actually, it's going to happen anyway that LLMs are going to be adopted more and more. Best thing that you can do is taking advantage of this situation rather than thinking that these are going to replace me. I think if we get into this mindset, we will be more productive and learn more quickly. So the analogy that people make is like it's basically similar to tools for builders, right? In the past, the strongest builder who have lots of muscles was the desired builder, because they carry things and move around. But now we have tools that can do the heavy lifting, and then now people with skills who can use these tools are much better builders. So you can think about it the same way. If you learn how to use these tools in your advantage to do the repetitive task for you, to finish more features, to design features much better, to learn new things more quickly, I think this will be better for us. But this is only my opinion. And based on what we have seen, that we need a little bit of tweaking for the LLMs to work. The agent AIs to work. The generate code. It's not going to be a single shot and everyone is going to basically write a single prompt, deploy the application as is, and we are out of job. So that's my 2 cents. That's all what I had for the demo. I will hand it back to Otkars to talk about how IK can help, and I will stay for like any questions that people may have at the end. We will go through the Q&A. Otkars, please feel free to take over.
Absolutely. So, guys, before we move on to the next part of the session, I have added the Google form in the chat window. I'm just sharing it again. So basically, all of this which we discussed today, and how to sort of break into agentic AI and build agents for yourself and explore that in your own domain, in your own roles itself. We have a couple of programs here at IK. I'm going to discuss this over the next few slides. So yeah, please do fill this form out. I'll just take 2 minutes so that everyone gets a chance to sort of, go through and fill out the form, and then I'll move to the next part of the session. Awesome. So we will move to the next part of the session. So I wanted to quickly, go through and sort of discuss how IK can, sort of help in taking your next leap and sort of, breaking into agentic AI itself. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, please do fill out the form so that our PA team can reach out to you and help you at the earliest. So Hemant can move to the next slide. Yes. So talking about how the learning happens here at IK. So we take sort of, a project-based learning approach. So the agents, building agents is something, going through a theoretical route is something not the ideal way, because the more you build, the more you sort of practice, you get expertise with real agentic systems itself, and sort of you can, get the outcome out of it. So application driven learning, project based learning is something which we preach through the programs. Then secondly, instructors like Hemant himself, and we have several instructors with us who, sort of practice like Gen AI agents on a regular basis, and sort of having live instruction mentorship with them is something which we provide through the program. And then thirdly, tailored learning pathways across different roles. So be you a product manager or a software engineer or a technical program manager, either of them, we are here to help. We are here to, take you to the next leap in your career. Yes, yes. So this is how the learning process looks like. So I mean, this is sort of a mimic of how the life cycle of building an agent and sort of going through agent building looks like. So you first build your very simple agent as we did today. So we sort of went ahead and built a to-do app. So building your first agent, building your agent to get started with, and then after that you sort of test your agent, optimize it as per your needs, evaluate, and sort of further advance it. Once you have optimized your agent, you sort of go ahead and build a more advanced system, a multi-agent system. So this is just a mimic of how in just like in either of these programs. So we have different programs basis the current role which you are at. Like if you're a software engineer, there is a different program specialized to what is expected in your role. And if you're a PM, TPM, EM, or cloud professional, we have separate programs present. So yeah, this slide particularly helps in mimic of all what we have to offer in each of these different programs. And sort of then evaluating your model and then doing a quick documentation around it, and eventually deploying your project on all of these different. So we cover AWS, we have AWS in our programs, we cover Docker, Kubernetes, so all of these are present in our programs. And as you can see, some of the agentic AI frameworks like LangGraph, this AG is basically AutoGen. It is also one of the agentic AI frameworks which we have. So this is how the learning looks like. Can the next. Yeah. Second one, as I was mentioning, the Fan Plus practitioner led sessions that we have. And next. Yeah. So this is how learning looks like at IK. So I am sure for those who have already been here at IK, you might be already familiar with it, but just a brief for anyone who's new here today. So we have our live classes on a Sunday. It happens in morning PST. So Sunday live classes sort of helps you go through live project building with our Fang Plus engineers and helps you guide through, let's say, if you are building your first agent project planning, sort of, figuring out what the right problem statement is so that you can cater to what you're looking for in terms of outcome. Then throughout the week, there is hands-on project building with proper documentation, necessary pre and post videos that has been shared across with you. Now, once you've gone through the 3 to 4 hour live session on Sunday, then after that, you have an interim connect on a Wednesday where you sort of come back and the instructor sort of takes a seat back, and the learners get the opportunity to sort of clarify their queries, get their queries and their doubts resolved in that session. And then every Thursday we are sort of sharing foundational videos. So any important relevant foundational videos present for the topics you're working towards is present there. And of course, there is one-on-one demand sessions. So we have one-on-one connects throughout the week as and when needed, on top of all of this that is already present. Yeah. So as I was mentioning, tailored pathways for each of these roles. So let's say if you are, you can just click once. Yeah. So as I was start talking, like for different roles. So let's say if you are a tech professional who is not currently, like if you're not an MLE or a data scientist working as a software engineer, PM, TPM, or cloud professional, either of these roles, if you're looking to sort of become AI enabled and also implement those AI skills in your current role, we have the Applied Agentic AI or the Agenta program. I will briefly discuss in the next upcoming slides what Agenta is. But yes, like applied agentic AI sort of takes you through different layers. The slide which you're seeing earlier, that build your first agent, build your advanced agent. So you'll be peeling off different layers every module and session by session, and sort of digging deeper and eventually having a good end-to-end understanding of building your model, evaluating it, optimizing it, and eventually deploying it on production grade environment. So that's how it goes through these programs. And then, like on top of this, you can also take one of our other programs called Project Up. So let's say you have gone through the very fundamentals, you've already built projects through the Applied Agentic AI program. Now you want to further advance on those projects, further advance on the hands-on coding part of things. Then you come up and pick up the Project Up program, and that sort of helps you further, strengthen your learning on the agent building. And for ML and DS professionals, given that you already have the background in AI ML, you can directly jump into the project program and sort of start building agents and leverage it to have the learning required in the agentic AI domain. And of course, like in each of these programs, we have the right fundamental precursor content as and where required. So we definitely provide all the support on top of what all I was discussing earlier. So yes. We'll keep this very brief. We will definitely, so as I was mentioning earlier, that please do, I'll also share across the message again. So I'll share this detail across these programs very briefly, as I want Emma to have enough time to take the Q&A. We have a couple of Q&A in the chat window, so we'll keep this very brief. So please do fill out the Google form, reiterating that, so that all of these details our PA team can directly, discuss one-on-one with you. So software engineers basically, can we go to the last slide? Yeah. So software engineers for yeah, it's right. So for software engineers, basically, going through the Python basics first, because of getting a familiarity around it. So if you're a software engineer, we're going through a coding route and then building your agents and evaluating, building your advanced agents, and at the very end, having capstone projects catered to a specific domain. So we have around 4 to 5 projects across the program, and that helps you, that proper strengthening of your agent building. We have our capstone projects where you are working on personalized projects. You can bring your own project as well as on top of the options that are already present. And on top of all of this, we have specialized sessions. So this specialized session is gonna be, some quick tidbits like 1 to 2 hours recorded videos that will be shared across with you. And this is going to be there for all the different pathways for tech professionals, PM, TPM, EMs, or for software engineers. Either of these pathways, it's going to be there to just enhance the learning further. Yeah, Ahmed, next slide. Yeah, so similarly, for the tech professionals also, we go through the same route. It's just that we go through a low code route. So using like if you are a PM, TPM, EM, now you don't require to go do hands-on coding through like languages like Python. So you can use tools like NA10, then Relevance AI, Zapier. There are many tools out there which you can leverage to build your agents. The fundamental concept still remains same, but you can use a low-code route to sort of build agents. Yeah. Next. Yeah. And as I was mentioning earlier, that AgentUp is basically, going through the extensive Agentic AI program and then also leveraging the interview prep in your domain to sort of, aim for FANG plus companies. So that's exactly what AgentUp means. So we'll discuss this further, our PA team will discuss this further with you guys, but this is what AgentUp means. And yeah, as I was mentioning, Project Up. So Project Up is more like, build first, sort of one. If you already have the fundamentals in place for agentic AI, if you've already, let's say, had this experience from the past on your own learning, or let's say if you have taken a program with us, like in agentic AI as such, so like you can directly jump into Project Up. So this is something more catered for MLEs and data scientists. So, like we go through project building itself, there's a common project which we have, and then there is a breakthrough project, more advanced project at the end. So yeah, like we have this through a period of 12 weeks. You can choose a project from several options that is present. Yes. Just a very brief, like what all we discussed, just a very brief around this. So we'll just leave this for a minute and then we can move to sort of the Q&As we have at the end. So